It had to be right after getting promoted to manager. I, the fifth one now. I was promoted due to the two others who did not want the job no more. I asked the reason why they stepped down. They each told me, talking to one another. The first person, Chase, she told me she was tired of the customers, tired of the lack of help when the store got flooded with problem after problem. Jean said she was tired of doing the job because she was dating a self-checkout gal, and she got tired of everyone giving her that look, knowing full well she was lesbian, and she did not hide it. I liked Chase and Jean. They were cool peeps. When I was offered their jobs, they turned on me soon after. I told my best friend about this, when at this time, he was still living in Downey, California, where we had grown up at. You think they were going to be nice about it? They hate you now, because you were one of the enemies, because you're now in management. Julian, he's still around, but I know he's the reason right now. Why am I still safe? You still dream about her, don't you? Digging into the question. So what if I do? Does that make me a bad person? When asking back. No, it just makes you look at the past. We do not look at the past no more. Remember, grilling the question into me. Tonight was a quiet night. I made it up to the hills once. They were called the Hills of Dash Point, a place overlooking the beautiful city of Tacoma. Looking at the power left on my battery from the cycle, I knew I had enough power for a nightly stroll, going back to my favorite spot, Freddy's Groceries, the place I worked for, 34 months in, before the sickness took over, destroying everything that I had thought would have given me the much-deserved reset I had been waiting for 3 years before. My ex-wife, Selena. I'm glad she's still around, along with my two daughters, Brittany and Beatrice. Going on 47 months now, since last seeing them in person, I do remember the last day I was able to see them, Christmas of 2027. I showed up after texting a couple hours earlier if it would be okay if I was able to drop off presents for the girls, for my ex-wife, with a funny emoji following afterwards. It took her about 20 minutes later. She texted, "Okay, you can come over." I did not have much to buy them, but my new job finally gave me some money where I was able to provide for the last 3 years prior. I was broke every holiday. Looking at my battery, I looked at how I was able to drive for at least 2 more hours before I had to charge the cycle up. I thank God for allowing me to be homeless in this town at that crappy time when my life was going nowhere. I knew the streets. I knew the back roads. I knew everything, especially at night. When at night was the time you had to make sure you did all your stuff, because in the daytime, this was the time the world was crazy. Riding down the hill, I make the turn where I used to pass the bikini barista place. Funny, thinking how those places were everywhere, it seemed, in the city. I was not hating on them. My ex would always say they were making a living just like how we were before slapping her knee, because she was the queen of the one-liners. Passing by it, I would always see a few ex-employees walking in their lingerie, slow pacing, wearing high heels, their faces just looking pale as ever. I wondered, did they stay by their old workplace because the memory of what their last job was? Wondering if this was on their mind as they strolled around their old stand? Passing by the bingo/casino, remembering our third date here, I remember how nervous I was before asking my now ex-wife to the place. Alex, when bringing her here, she asked me if I had been to the casino before. Of course, I lied. I was a very bad gambler in those early days, or as I can say, those early years, being in my 20s. Leading up to our first date, I was now 32. I did not have time to dwell on this memory tonight, because tonight would have been the night of our 2-year dating anniversary. 2 years I met you. I knew after the first date, I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. Sucks when you think of this stuff. You remind yourself to let it go. Just freaking let it go. Pulling up to Freddy's Groceries, I look at how dark from the inside looked nowadays. Hiding my cycle, I walk in the front door, staring to my left. I would be meeting either Greg, if it was daytime, or Jean, if it was nighttime, greeting me at the self-checkout desk. When Greg died, he went quickly. His immune system couldn't handle the second shot we were all told to get. Word has it, you've been going back to the bakery a lot, pulling cakes and whatnot. Jean being front forward with it all. What are you implying, Jean? Trying to understand what she was asking. Everyone knows you get lost to the bakery just so you could talk to Alex, referring to one of the new bakery people, a gal the store hired a few months ago. It wasn't like this at first. I pulled into the driveway one day. A Ford Focus. The tire was low. I walked over to the driver's side, knocking on her window. She pulled it down, asking, what was the matter? Your rear tire is low. I think you need air in it. Having her get out of the car, to see I was not trying to steal her car, where I had heard scammers were trying to do, before taking someone's car. She called AAA. They came in an hour. Making my rounds through the store, seeing her with a hair bonnet in the bakery. Hello again. What are you doing here? Asking as if I was interrogating her. I work here. Smiling at me, before realizing I was the guy who told her about her rear tire being a bit low. Getting a call from my walkie, an earpiece, always plugged into my right ear, I got a call from produce. I said my goodbyes before moving on. 2 days later, she was on her lunch break. I was headed to the break room to use the restroom. When passing by, I asked her, what was she eating? She was eating a chalupa from Taco Bell. You never know how much you miss something when you know you miss those chalupas. Looking outside, I could see I was only 3/4 of a mile from the last Taco Bell we had opened, before it closed its doors. Walking to the deli aisle, I remember they were giving free taste items, kind of like how that Chinese place with the bear would always do whenever you went into the mall. I grabbed a piece of orange chicken. Before asking for one more piece, I headed into the bakery, seeing she was with a customer, afterwards offering the orange chicken. This, of course, was an HR violation, but I didn't get fired. Alex, instead, she gave me a weird look. Telling the story to Julian, he laughed at me before telling me, if you were not handsome enough, she would look the other way. But now she just labeled you as a creep, giving me that slap to the face emoji. 3 days later, walking out to my car, Alex taps me on my back. I jump a little bit before saying, hi, how are you? Pretending, making her feel comfortable with the orange chicken thing. I was wondering if you like seafood, Alex asking, making me think. Was she asking me out? But the thing was, I was not that handsome guy or the 6-foot guy women drooled over, putting myself down for no reason. But she asked again, do you like seafood? I do. What do you have in mind? Asking the question back. There's this place called Lights Out in the Harbor, off of Ruston Way. Talking about that waterfront place where all the couples go to. All the people bring their dogs inside, etc. Wanna go? Did you want to go there with me? Slowly asking the question back, wondering to myself if she would say yes. She nodded yes, in agreement. 4 days later, Sunday morning, I skipped over church, telling my brother there, Billy, I had a seafood date at the harbor. Is she worth it? Asking first. Is this the one you would bring to church? Next question. I think so, saying over text. I think this is something special, something I've been waiting on, telling myself. Leaving me be, I arrived a few minutes early. Coming out of her car, she wore a long-sleeve sweater, looking awesome, matching black skirt with black leggings. She was beautiful. Love at first sight. Hi, I say with a huge smile. Hi yourself, saying back to me. Sitting out in the patio, it was a hot morning. I rudely asked her why she would be wearing a long sleeve with a sweater, making her hot. Thinking in my head, I have eczema. It's a skin condition where my skin can be inflamed if I were to stay in the sun too long, Alex explaining. Feeling like a jackass, I tell her we can sit inside because I did not know about her condition. She smiles back before saying nothing's wrong, she can get medicine if it flares. Moving herself, moving her chair next to me, she kisses my cheek, my world feeling as I had just climbed the highest mountain. After the date, it would be the only time we would not be in the same car anymore. If she worked early, I would drop her off before coming on to my shift. If she was off and I was on, she would drive